Welcome to the Harvest Sunday morning virtual experience. Listen, we are so glad to have you here with us and also virtually, but it gives you an opportunity to spend this Sunday with your family. So after service today, you can sit around and have breakfast, or you can go out in fellowship, whatever it is that you want to do on this Lord's Day after spending time with He, Him, Holy Spirit. Listen, be sure, we've already played it, but be sure to like, share, and comment. Like, share, and comment for this amazing experience, because let me tell you something. I believe every encounter with God will provide an unforgettable experience. I didn't say some, I said every encounter that comes with God provides for an unforgettable experience. Listen, we're so glad to see you on this fabulous August day, and I'm so excited and I'm so stoked, and we have been in the middle of the series on how to heal. We've been in the middle of this series on how to heal. And because we've been in the middle of this series on how to heal, listen, most of us don't know how to heal, or we've never been introduced to how to heal. And a lot of us are making adjustments, and sometimes we can't make the proper adjustment because others haven't really dealt with us as far as those adjustments are concerning. And so the biggest thing for me is those that are without, those that are without. And because those that are without, that's not the will of God for you ever to be without. It's the will of God for you to have nothing missing, nothing broken, and nothing lacking in any area or any arena of your life. So I want you to get ready. And if this series has been a blessing to you, email us, put us on social media, let us know that this series so far, and even though we've only been in two parts of it, that it has blessed you, and share it with your family and share it with your friends. Now, here's the thing that I like, or I believe to enjoy about this, is that we're going to deal with areas that many people haven't taken the time to deal with. And so, we've dealt with the areas, and you got to go back and check out the lessons, I promise to you, because I don't want to go back and preach those lessons. But this morning I want to talk about how to properly even deal with loss and so forth. So like, share, comment. You get an opportunity, share it with your friends and family. Let them know we're having a virtual experience this morning, and it's going to bless their life. I promise you, it's going to bless their life. And so, definitely so. So let's get ready to jump into it. You've had an opportunity to share. We've played all of that great stuff this morning for you. But this morning, I want to talk about when God still has something for you. You got to get what I just said. When God still has something for you. A lot of us think we're going through seasons that we're forgot about. And for the most part, is because we haven't learned how to heal, or no one's introduced healing to us. And so I have, based upon this series and the notes that I have with this series, I'm going to write a book. We've always talked about generational wealth, and I have nothing against generational wealth, because I believe that that's, what I still endeavor to continue to create. But the one thing that we have not talked about was generational healing. So I'm taking all my notes, and I'm working on this book, and I'm doing a devotional, and then I'll do the book later, because I want to put some more meat on it. But I want to do a 14-day devotional, and that we'll make available, and you'll make available on generational healing, how to heal generationally, because a lot of us don't even realize a lot of what we deal with is something that was dealt with in a prior generation, in our generation. It's something that's been dealt with. And we don't know that we're fighting the same battles that our fathers and mothers and grandfathers may have fought. And so children end up fighting battles that they didn't even know was on them or was upon them. And so so this generational healing, man, that's going to be something to behold, and hopefully next week or so, or the week after, I can finish the 14-day up, get it to you as soon as possible, because you can start this process. And I'm gonna say it again, you can start this process, because one of the things, and I've been very transparent about some of the things just in later conversations that I found out with my father, and this was a while ago. It's been many years ago that we had this conversation, but he shared some conversations with me about some of the things that generationally that they dealt with. And that one thing, and I've been very transparent about it, was the anger piece, or the anger promotion, and how the anger was, you think that the anger is really all about you and you birthed it. That's what you really believe in your heart. But what happens is, after conversating with him, and he talked about his father and talked about his grandfather, so I see that this wasn't a new battle. Satan just perpetuated from generation to generation to generation. And now here's what I said. After finding out the information, I said, it will die with me. I didn't say I was going to die. I said it was going to die. What that anger, that generational anger, was going in with me. And I'm sharing this message with you because whatever you need healing from generationally, watch this, not only will you heal, but the trauma or the wound will die with you. That's why it's Psalms 147:3 is so important, where it says that he heals the brokenhearted and he binds their wounds. Now, my daughter Ariel was having a conversation with me, because we're going to dig deeper into this particular scripture, because we really want to find out where David was when this was written. Where was David in his life? What had he experienced in his life? We've done Psalms 51, where he says, uphold me with thy free spirit. And whatever you do, don't take the joy of your salvation away from me. See, a lot of times we listen to people, but when they giving information, they're giving information either from their preference or they're giving information from their experiences. Now, I want us to be able to give the answer and to stop giving those experience. When we give information, we want to give about the breakthrough. We don't want to keep rehashing the problem or rehashing the wound, or keep picking at the wound or rehashing the promise. We want to be absolutely positively free, because whom the Son set free is free indeed. And so I began to look all through the scriptures about people that dealt with wounds or people that dealt with trauma. And so that when he says, I will bind up their wounds, which means that anything you bind up, it will be thrown into the fire and it will be eradicated. I'm going to say that again. It'll be thrown into the fire and it will be eradicated. And so I wanted to share, because, I got about 4 or 5 different scriptures that I wanted to look at with that, but I want you to begin to now look inwardly. Here's how you begin to heal. You're going to have to look inwardly through your spirit, man, through your soul, for the answers on how to heal. You're going to have to look inwardly through your spirit, man, or your soul on how to heal, because I want you whole. I want you well, because it's the question that Jesus asked the man at the pool of Bethesda in the book of John. He asked him the question, will thou be made whole? It is a question. It is a question. Whole is healing is a part of wholeness. It's not all, healing is not all of it, because during the process, whole, when we're not whole, that means not that we lost some things from not being healed. We lost we lost relationships from not being healed. We lost resources from not being healed. We've lost finances from not being healed. We've lost, watch this, health from not being healed, because emotionally we'll begin to eat ourselves into a grave. I wrote this down. I said, we need to have dominion over the fork, spoon, and knife in Jesus' name, so we can stop killing ourselves with the food. We go spending. We start spending because we think spending will make sure that we're healed. And then we find out later that spending in itself does not allow us to be healed. It doesn't. And so through this series, through the devotional, through the book, through the mechanism, based upon this message that God has given me, I want you to declare that right now I'm whole. Right now I'm whole. Now here's the thing. Everything happens not at the moment that you see it, but at the moment that you believe it. So if you believe you're whole, you will see you're whole. If you're waiting to see it, to think that you're whole, then you're not going to be whole, because faith is not by sight. Faith is what I believe. So I began to look at 2 Kings chapter number 4, and that's such a pertinent verse. And I got plenty. I always say, the Dr. Miles Monroe always said, I got more message than I have time, but I want to give you what God has given me and all to share with you on this morning. It says in verse number 1, it says, now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the son prophets unto Elisha, saying, thy servant, my husband, is dead. Now, how many of you know this woman is experiencing loss? She goes to the prophet and she is like, all is not well. Now, some of you have had moments in your life that we try to be churchy and give the churchy answer because we don't seem like we want to complain, but all is not well right now. Now, I'm saying all is not well because there are some things that perpetuated. Not only did she lose her husband, but there was loss. This loss looked like it was going to snowball. And so sometimes it's okay to say everything ain't well right now. Everything ain't good right now. And yeah, we can make it, but we gonna have to do what we need to do in order to make it. And so here's what she said: thy servant, my husband, is dead. Thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Lord. She said, my husband had a relationship with God. Watch this, but here's what she says: and the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen or to be servants. Now, what you have to understand is that her husband died, but he left her in debt. He loved the Lord, but there was some wholeness that didn't go on because he left them in debt. Now, if we were to bring this up to the modern day, we would say Papa is a rolling stone, but he wasn't a rolling stone. He loved God. He loved God, but he was still in debt. Now, when he died in debt, what creditors do? Creditors were ruthless. You think creditors are ruthless now. They were ruthless back then. He said this, that was so, and the word that I'm looking for, he said this, he says, they come to take my 2 sons to be servants. And what would happen is your sons had value. And that's a whole nother lesson that I'm going to teach, the value of sonship. That's a whole, and maybe I'll write something on it and then I'll teach it, because a lot of times we look at, and it's not that our daughters don't have value, but the creditors took the son because they were coming to get the sons because the sons could work off the debt of the father, or work off the wound of the father, or work off the trauma of the father. And so sometimes what's going on now with some of our sons that we see in the street, and this just is not that it is not with daughters, it's about sons right now. And I'm talking to you from a historical biblical perspective, that some of the sons are working off the wounds today of the father, which means that if you hadn't gotten rid of the anger, you're working off their debt. If you hadn't got rid of the manipulation, you're working off their debt. If you hadn't gotten rid of the hurt, you're working off their debt. And watch this. Right now, you are a servant to whatever the Father carried. And so today, we want you to be whole and we want you to be free. Now, here's how Elisha does. Elisha says, I know what historically is supposed to happen. But he said this in the next verse. He said unto her, what shall I do for you? Okay, I know what you're saying going on, but what shall I do for you? Jesus asked that man at the well, do you want to be made well? So in question form, you'll hear God begin to say some things to you because he really wants to know, what do you really want? And a lot of us aren't clear and we aren't transparent about what we really want in our relationship with God. Really, what we really want to be free, what we really want to not hurt anymore, what we really want. Because we can hurt, which means that immediate pain we're dealing with. But if you return back to the same decisions and behavior, you'll never be able to get rid of the pain. So we ask her, what shall I do for thee? And then he follows that up and says, tell me, what hast thou in thy house? And she said, thy handmaid have not anything in the house. Now, if we were to use the modern day vernacular, except a pot of oil. And in the King James, she said, save a pot of oil. Now, see, the thing about your wholeness or missing, you don't believe you have what you need to stop hurting. You don't believe you have what you need to take care of your needs. You don't even know, because no one has ever dealt with you, that as long as you got the word, watch this, and a gift and instructions, you got what you need to experience generational healing and wholeness. He says, what do you have in your house? And she said, thy handmaid hath not anything in the house save a pot of oil. Then he said, go. Okay, now, here's the thing. They used to say, ready, set, go. That's how we, before they had starter pistols with racing and running, they would say, ready, set, go. Ready is preparation. Set is expectation. Ooh, that's this revelation coming forth. And go means manifestation. Oh, you're going to have to hit the rewind button to hear that again. Ready is preparation. Set, watch this, is expectation. And go is manifestation. So when you hear the word go, it means don't doubt. It means go straight ahead to what you're going to do. He says, go. Do what? He says, go borrow the vessels abroad of all thy neighbors, even empty vessels. And here's what he says. When you hear the word go, don't think small. When you hear the word free, don't think small. When you hear that, don't think small. So now, the first thing I'm going to help you being removed from hurt is I want to rip up that small thinking that you have had or you have used in your life, or what Satan has allowed you to marinate on all your life. It's that small thinking. He says, no, when I'm involved in anything in your life, it's going to be big. When I'm involved in your deliverance, it's going to be big. When I'm involved in your wholeness, it's going to be big. And so I need you to get your expectation. That's the set. Get your expectation for big manifestation that God is going to perform in your life. He says, go borrow thee vessels abroad from thy neighbors. He says, not a few. He says, but when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door open, thee and upon thy sons, and thou shalt pour. And I saw this because I saw Pastor NaTasha's conference, the Pour Conference. And maybe this might be a shameless plug about the Pour Conference, but I'm telling you, if you hadn't gotten your tickets, man, you better go ahead and get your tickets. And see, it just magically appeared across the screen. You need to scan that barcode and get your tickets, because I'm about to share with you this revelation that God gave me. It's Pour to Promise 2024. Scan the barcode, bring all the women, you bring your nieces, your daughters, you bring your grandmama, every female in your life, your god sisters and brothers, so that they can get their ticket. But here's the thing, what he says, and he said to the woman, thou shalt pour out. The problem with us is we've been pouring in. What? We're pouring into other people. We're pouring into people that's abusing us. We're pouring into people that's using us. We're pouring into people that love us. We're pouring into our children. We're poor. But in no time are we pouring out. He says, pour out into all the vessels. So now at this meeting, there's going to be a great pouring out that's going to occur in this meeting. He says, pour them into the vessels, and thou shalt, watch this, set aside that which is full, which means when God tells you to pour, it's going to fill every vessel you come in contact with. It's going to fill every person you come in contact with, because you're going to have to stop pouring in, you're going to have to pour out. So here's in verse 5, it says, so she went from him and shut the door upon her and upon her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. Y'all hear me, ladies? This is a revelation for you. And she poured out. What God has given you so big is so big, you've been trying to keep it in, and God's been telling you to pour it out. Now watch this. In 6 it says, and it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said unto her sons, bring me yet a vessel. And he said to her, there is not a vessel more. Watch this. And the oil stayed, which means you got enough in you. Watch this. You ain't finished until you run out of vessels. Now, you got to see where this all started at. This woman goes to the prophet and begins to say, I lost my husband. He was always at church meetings. He was always doing for the Lord. He was on fire for the Lord. I lost him, and it left me in debt. And now, not only did I lose him, but the creditors want me to lose my sons. That's where this all began at. I don't know where your beginning is. I don't know where you went without in a season of your life. I don't know where you went with some bad news, but I'm here to tell you that it is not over. It is not over. It is not over. And watch this. And God's going to always use you. Nothing, it won't stay. It says, and the oil stayed. When did the oil stay? When they ran out of pots. It gave me a revelation. I was working just out of whatever, a reach out with Minister Broderick, and he was talking, and I found out, I came in on where somebody had did him wrong in the using of the printing of his books and all, and so he was frustrated, and he was very frustrated by the events. And so I came in on something that I told everybody, this whole publishing and book writer thing, I mean, I do it for myself, but I'm retired. That's what I said. And so after, watch this, pouring out what I had in me, which means that I wasn't finished. You got to get what I just said. I wasn't finished. As long as you got something to pour out, you are not finished. And Satan has tried to get you through hurt to think that you're finished with relationships, you're finished with marriage, you're finished with money, you're finished in your health. He's tried to tell you you're finished. I'm here to tell you you are not finished. You got more to pour out. And so when I helped him, and after I helped him do everything, he said, Bishop, because he called me Bishop too. Everybody called me Bishop. He said, Bishop, he says, you can't quit. You got too much in you to quit. Man, that thing resonated with me, got me on fire. And it's something that I'm now sharing again with other people. The problem was I was hurt, bruised, and wounded based upon how I had dealt with that business part, And you never realize your emotions will try to get the best of you, and you'll miss who you're supposed to pour into. Yesterday, on Friday, I had to go to civil court to take care of something in civil court. And it wasn't negative. It wasn't negative on my part, but in that, the Lord, I'm in court now. I'm kind of a little tired because I've been there since 8:30 and it's 10:30. I mean, I was there since like 10 minutes to 8. It's 8:30. It's 10:30. I'm ready to go home. And the Lord said to me, watch what I do. And now I'm going to tell you, my flesh was objecting because I know he was up to something. And so the judge went through everything. And then the judge asked me, he said, well, do you sometimes they make an offer. Do you want to make an offer? And I said, okay. And I heard what the Lord says. And before I had an opportunity to disobey him. See, some of y'all going to have to obey right away, because just a few seconds of pondering will cause disobedience. And so I said, okay, the person has to do this, but I'm going to forgive this amount, which was not a small amount. It was a very substantial amount. I said, I'm going to forgive this amount. Now, mind you, man, something happened that I had never seen before. I think that I'm affluent in court based upon the amount of court shows that I watch. And that's just a little plug-in and so forth like that, knowing that. And so I said, this is what I'm going to do. And the judge, y'all hear me what I'm saying? The judge started crying. And the judge looked at me. I knew it wasn't me. The judge looked and says, Mr. Middleton, thank you. She says, you have restored my hope in humanity. Now, some people would look at that as a loss because I forgave some debt. But God said, no, it was a gain, because he says, you will never see a judge get emotional. The person who I'm in court with got emotional because of what God said to do. What do you have in your house that'll change the lives of many? And so when that happened, I had to sit and finally, when I left out of the court and everything, I didn't have my moment in the court. I had my moment when I came and sat in the car that our God is so good. Our God is so good that God would use resources, finances, to have somebody's hope that not went to them, but to see the forgiveness that I had towards someone else. Now, mind you, my flesh did not want to participate. I'm not going to sit here and tell you my flesh wanted to participate in this. My flesh was like, no, we ain't doing this, man. We ain't doing this. No, that's not. My flesh was like, absolutely not. But my soul and my spirit understands my God. And because it understands my God, it was almost like God said, you'll get that back tenfold. I said, Lord, I received that. But here's the thing. A judge cried during a case. And the judge said, watch this, not me, but you in me, restored her hope in humanity again. Now, that's one of the things where I break out with a Mother Chisholm. It's the Lord's doing, and it's marvelous in our eyes. And so as long as you can still pour out, it starts with being healed. It starts with being healed. I'm going to read the rest of this because even with that, I'm going to share about, well, let me share about Ruth and Naomi, and then I'll come back to this. Ruth and Naomi, they and the other and Orpah, they all lost their husbands at the same time. They were all hurt. Naomi released both of her daughter-in-laws. It's like, I ain't got no more sons, so if y'all want to go, you gonna go. That one chick took off. But you know what Ruth did? She said, She said, your God be my God. Your people be my people. Wherever you go, that's where I'm going to be. And he used relationships to help her heal. And they helped each other heal. How did she do? That was her daughter-in-law that was married to her son, and she trained him how to get she trained her how to get a Boaz. Now, that's a whole nother revelation that you don't want Boaz because Boaz wasn't around long, but he was good for the training. Now, here's what happens. Here's when wholeness is always about instructions. It's always about instructions. Now, here's what happened. After the oil stopped, she came and told the man of God, and he said, watch this, go. So I don't know. I think I'm going to get me a big t-shirt that says go. And underneath of it, I'm be like, if you a Harvest Nation person, go. You know what we talking about. He says, go and sell the oil and pay the debt, and live thou and thy children on the rest. This is indicative of getting out of debt. Debt, watch this, is a cancer on you and your family. It keeps you from making decisions. It keeps you from obeying God. It keeps you from having joy, unspeakable joy. But how about today we get healed and the debt gets canceled? While I'm all for debt cancellation monetarily, I want to cancel the debt that this wound, this trauma has been making you pay that's been generational. But here's what he says. Your breakthrough and your healing will be generational. Why? Because he says you and your children will live off the rest, which now says to me, she didn't just have two sons. They were just in the room to have her follow instructions. When it says children, it now implies to me that all of their obedience cared for their entire family. I'm saying to you, there are people that are hurt. This story is followed up by the Shunammite woman. There are people that are injured. There are people that are injured. But guess what? She was busy doing. She was busy serving. She built a house for the prophet to stay in, a prophet's chamber. That's what we call now. And when she built the prophet's chamber, literally Elisha said, no one does this that doesn't have need. He goes to Gehazi and says, what is it about this woman? He said, I noticed she don't have a son. And the man of God looks at her and said, about this time next year, you shall have a son. See, your hurt might be that there was a promise of God that you heard years ago, but you hadn't seen it yet. But see, pour out will always go to promise. Because she said, don't lie to me, man of God. Don't lie to me. Don't play with my emotions, because that's what I wanted. I'm telling you, ready, set, go, ready, preparation, set, anticipation or expectation, go, manifestation. So when I see you in person, I'm gonna say ready, set, go. Y'all gonna be ready. What? You know it's go time. And so the woman desired a son. And all she did was, you were suffering, and she was suffering in silence. She had money because she was known in town. She had money. So money wasn't the solving issue for her. It was an heir apparent or a seed. Why? Because everything that's generational makes you take the focus off of yourself. So today, I want you to heal. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I want you to heal. I want you to, you're already healed. Because that's Exodus 15:26. When it talks about Jesus, by his stripes, we're already healed. Exodus said he sent his word and healed our disease. I just need you to receive it. How do you know you receive it? Your instructions that you follow will be in your expectation, in your hearing, and your receiving. So it's healing the brokenhearted. And Luke 4 called this the acceptable year of the Lord. So all I want to say to you today, I want to encourage you to heal. I want to encourage you. Let's heal. I want to encourage you. Let's heal. I want to encourage you. What? That you are about to come into a season of your life. Here's the promise for the person that will pour out and stop pouring in, because you get depressed. I almost feel like I want to use this like a Baptist preacher. You get depressed when all you do is pour in. You pour in the word, but when you pour that situation in you over and over again, you don't see the results. But when you pour out, you says, my expectation is the breeding ground for the miracles that God says I'm going to have in my life. Now, do you receive that? I'm going to say this again. Do you receive that? Today is your receiving day. And I want you to walk around. Watch this. You're not going to lack anything. That woman, she thought she was losing everything. And I think you thought you were losing everything. But I'm here to tell you, I stopped by to tell you that you hadn't lost anything. Whatever you've poured out, you're about to gain back and then some. And that's why I love these moments. When I always say about the preaching moments, it's an opportunity for me to pour out. When I say about the fathering moments, it's an opportunity for me to pour out, because there are situations that I've been involved in that God allows me to be a father to someone. And this ministry of fatherhood can't get off of me because I get to pour it out on someone who needs it. Why? Because I want the hurt or the wounds that have been suffered from the past to get away and leave. And so there are some people that leave wounded. They've left my presence, but they're still wounded. They've left the presence of this ministry, but they're still wounded. And what they never realize is all I wanted them to do was heal. That's all I desired for them to do was heal. So this week, practice ready, set, go. What? Ready, preparation, set, expectation, go, manifestation. And I'm out of time. Well, come on, y'all. Let's give the Lord a great big hand, a great big God bless you is what I want you to give him. Listen, I want to do an altar call first. And then, I really would like to hear from you. You can go to our app. You can email us. Let us know that you have made the decisions that I'm about to give to you as far as this appeal is concerned. and let us know how this message blesses you, because it blesses us that when we hear that breakthrough has come to your house in this day. And that's why I always would love Apostle Rod Parsley. His broadcast was called Breakthrough. And there was great manifestation. But here are the appeals. Number one, maybe you're out there and you tuned in for the first time, don't know why. You're not born again. You've never received Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior of your life, and you want to make a decision today because you hadn't made the decision because you've been wounded and you've been hurt and you've been in need of healing by spiritual things you might have seen in your life. Well, today is your healing day. Second, you might have had a relationship with him, but because you were wounded in another space or another season, you stopped staying in fellowship with him. But today I want you to be reunited with him in fellowship. Watch this, because healing comes from you being in that newness when it comes to him. Thirdly, if you would like to partner with the teaching ministry of Rodney NaTasha Middleton to allow me to be your pastors, to allow me to be the conduit in which God wants to help you heal from whatever it is you go through. I have people that call me Pops, Papa, Uncle Papa, Pastor Papa, and I never asked for any of that. It's just that God anointed me to help people heal in the area of sonship and fatherhood. And I want to be that person. Excuse me. I want to be that person that helps you heal. And if you would like for me to help you by being your pastor, let us know through the app, through the email. Let us know that we can help you, and we'll send you out some information to get this journey started, because we're going to get that 14-day devotional on generational healing. We're about to get it ready and get it prepared. So those were the three things. And if you decide today that you want to make a decision in any of those areas, get in contact with us. Let us know. Email me at pastor, P-A-S-T-O-R, at harvestci.com, or you can email your decision through the app. And there's a Connect card also that's in the app. And with the Connect card, that Connect card will allow you, and here's information. You can scan the Connect card, and you can let us know with the scan of the Connect card the decision you made and how we might be able to help you grow further in the Lord. So receive that. Let us know of the decision you made. And by all means, after viewing this broadcast, share it with family and friends. Because let me tell you something. Debt is a wound. You've never seen what it's like to be debt-free in your life, because this wound's been generational. This wound's been generational. It's been through great grandparents, parents. It's been generational. And you're trying to be free of something that's spiritual without knowing that you've been in bondage to it all this time. So you're free. You are not without. And so listen, before we get ready to go, here are ways that you can give to this ministry. And this is not done under compulsion. This is with cheerful joyousness, prompt to do it giver, whose giving is in his heart. There are ways you can use church app, Giveify, PayPal, or Cash App. You don't have to worry about Tithely. We're not using that one right now. But those are the 4 ways that you can give. You can scan the app, and when you do the church app, it'll take you to the ways to give. And so, or you want to search for us, you do Harvest International Ministries, Baltimore, or PayPal. You can use those mechanisms to be able to watch this, help us further this assignment, and help us further this vision, because that's literally what you're helping me to do right now. You're helping me to restore fatherhood back into the earth. Glory to God. Well, listen, I love you guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Email me this week and let us know how this virtual experience went for you. And so with that being said, always remember that Jesus is Lord, and in all you're getting, get understanding. We love you guys. Pastor NaTasha and Pastor Ariel, they love you and they miss you. And we'll see you virtually on Wednesday. And then guess what, y'all? We're going to be back in the house next Sunday where we're going to lay hands on the children. We're going to, watch this. I'm not going to lay hands on the children. I'm going to give the parents instructions through the word on how to handle their children this school year. Man, you don't want to miss next week. I'm already excited about next week. Love you guys. Have a great day.
I don't know about you, but the thought of that in my prayer closet sends me in deliverance. Nothing you can do can stop the goodness of God. You know, I sense a 2 Samuel 5:24 type of wind. It's a wind of breakthrough. The sound of the going. There it is, that's that wind about to hit. I'm not going to count you down. But the next 10 seconds, a wind is about to hit this room from the left to the right. From the right to the left. And God says, when this wind blows over you, it will be a sign that I have broken through. I have broken through for you. I am not on the way. This sound is not the sound of what's coming. This is the sound of the going. This is the sound of the going. And I, the Lord, have gone before you and fought your battles. And nothing's going to stop my goodness. My word I spoke over you. It shall come to pass. Nothing will stop my goodness.